albeit a cold reality, but I have embraced that cold reality as part of the process.
Yeah, we gotta hire this dude, right? He's gotta come through for some social media commercials. You're tuned in to Trust the Process. My name is Kyle, and I'm here with the very talented Allen Tumbaga, a photographer and small business owner. It's gonna be a great conversation today. I'm very excited. Nice to meet you, brother.
Nice to meet you too.
Tell me about when your inspiration for photography really hit you, at what age, and how that kind of played out for you.
Well, my inspiration for photography began ever since I was younger, actually. I remember my parents, they bought like a small Sony Cybershot camera. No, nothing like that. More like the complete opposite. It's actually, you know, those small point and shoot cameras like, you know, everyone's parents has.
Oh yeah.
Like
it has different colors and stuff too?
Not even, it was just steel gray. It was just plain, boring, simple. And I remember we were on this trip, I don't know if it was to like the States or like Niagara, and I just started taking pictures of like random stuff. Then fast forward a couple of years, 2013, I was coming back from a trip. So I got my iPod Touch 5th gen, and I just did the exact same thing. Took pictures of random stuff, and there's just one photo. I could actually link it, you know, in the show notes as well later, that I first took, and it was from that moment. This is February 2013 or 2014.
Yeah.
And that's where it all started. And over the years, I started picking up DSLRs until I hit that baby over there.
That's a beautiful one. Let them know which one that is for those.
That's a Nikon D700. Released about, I think, around 2008, and on that is a Sigma 24-72-8.
Wow.
So some serious glass right there.
That's some serious glass right there.
Yeah.
So 2017 is when you really converted it from personal to business, you'd say?
And it was a slow transition. Again, I was still in high school, you know, we're still young at the time.
Yeah.
We're still exploring the world. So I was like, okay, I could probably do this as a full-time career. And 2019, that's when, I wouldn't say grew exponentially, but that's when I figured, all right, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life.
I love that. I love that. And not many people are able to say, I know what I'm doing for the rest of my life at the young age of 19. I still don't know, but that's really cool that you're able to know that and really take it to the next level from there. So did you go into this business with a prior business knowledge, or did you kind of figure it out as you went? And what was that like?
Well, I began with just a bit of business knowledge. I just knew like the pure basics, but like I took a couple of courses in high school, but besides that, I was going in like a blind mouse. Wow. So, and it's a learning process. Again, trust the process. You have to trust the process and learning both the business stuff and the photography stuff as well. And there's just a lot of things that you just learn along the way. You learn how to interact with clients. You learn how to interact with other creatives. You know, I have other photographers messaging me, "Hey, Allen, when can we work together? You know, when can we work with some clients?" So that's something I'm definitely looking forward to.
No, absolutely, right? And I wanted to ask you about that because would you say that that's something you can study, or do you think that, you know, learning how to interact with clients, other photographers, is that something you just have to throw yourself into to learn, or do you think that there's resources for new photographers where they can learn that? What's your opinion on that?
Well, from my experience, I believe that interacting with just anyone at all, that in itself is a soft skill. Of course, they might teach that in schools and stuff, but you might want to look beyond the horizon and even kind of study how you interact with your peers on a daily basis, both on your family, your friends, classmates, and that's how you really develop both your communicating skills and even your interpersonal skills, and even your emotional intelligence in terms of, you know, reading people to see if they're comfortable or uncomfortable in certain situations. And it's a lot to take in, but it's almost like a muscle. You know, you kind of have to, you know, there's a process over time. You have to keep building on that.
Absolutely. You kind of got to keep flexing the muscle until you grow something there and you kind of understand how it works. What did your hiring process look like? So did you kind of scope people out? Like, was it personal connections, or did you actually put postings on places like Indeed and LinkedIn? What did that look like?
With the first couple of people I've had to work with, it's all through personal connections. Two of them I went to high school with, Mary Ward Catholic Secondary School. Shout out MW Ward, and one of them from Seneca. So again, it's on the run, and again, I'm trying to prospect the future. I'm seeing where I want to go, and more importantly, I'm seeing how am I going to get there to where I want to go. Because again, it's important to have an end goal in mind, but again, you have to trust the process and have steps and contingencies in place to make sure you actually meet that goal and those ambitions.
For sure. And do you kind of look at it, I know some people say you have your end goal and then you trace the steps backwards, or do you have your end goal but trace your steps from the present day going forward?
I do a mix of both. There's this thing I began doing every morning, and right when I get out of bed, I don't even like use a washroom, I don't even make my bed. I get up, I sit at my desk, and I write down the goals that I want to achieve in my lifetime. Kind of prospecting the next 10 to 15 years. So I'll work backwards, all right? What's that big goal? All right, what are the things before that? What are the things with school? What are the things with work? Maybe personal as well. And I'll go from long term, short term, and there's something else that I also include there, and it's things I'm grateful for. Things such as gratitude, things I'm happy to be with, and all that. Like,
yeah.
This is actually one of the things I'm really, really grateful for. Like the past couple of weeks, I was like, all right, I'm really, really thankful for this press interview, and it's such an honor to truly be here.
No, thank you so much. And I love hearing about your daily morning routine. You know, I think it's so crucial to look back and, you know, be thankful for everything you do have, but also when your mind is just awoken from sleep, you're fresh to go sit at your desk and write everything you want to do. I think that's dedication, and it really shines through. You know, when I get up in the morning, sometimes it's so tempting to, you know, your phone's at the night table, you want to look at, oh, did anyone message me back on Instagram? Yo, what's she saying? You know what I mean? But yeah, I think it takes incredible discipline. And in that note, like, would you say that discipline is crucial to your business's success? Like, what level of discipline do you have to have when, say, you know, maybe your friends are hanging out one day, but you have an opportunity for a gig? Is discipline one of your core principles, you'd say?
It has to be. Mm-hmm. And I was already exposed to just the realities of being a business owner at a young age from, of course, social media. Like, no one in my immediate family has had a business of like this sort that I could like recall of. So I knew that if I want to go where I want to go in life, there's some things I'll just have to miss out on. And that has to go both for academia and my professional life as well. Because, you know, yes, it gets a bit lonely, but it's part of the process. If you want to get to go where you want to go in life, you have to be prepared to make sacrifices, and that's, albeit a cold reality, but I have embraced that cold reality as part of the process.
Yeah, we got to hire this dude, right? He's got to come through for some social media commercials, some advertisements. But yeah, I think that's a reality that a lot of people struggle to kind of face. You know, it's that idea of, you know, you want to have it all, and I think social media plays into this idea that, you know, you see influencers partying it up and they're making money. You think it's often hand in hand, but I think especially starting out, you have to make those sacrifices. You got to put in the work. And I'm really happy you kind of brought up that point and you described it very, very well. So self-discipline, you know, you got to miss out on an event, but you're going to put those hours into your business to potentially turn a profit years down the road. So that's a great point. But I want to talk a bit about your creative expression a little bit as well. So tell me, do you have a specific style? Is there something about, you know, certain compositions, certain angles that you like? What is the Allen Tumbaga style of photography?
I get my inspiration from different places, and just like every other artist, it comes in kind of like phases and waves. Before, when I first started out, like portraiture photography, I was heavy on editing. And one thing I do now is, in order to still reincorporate photography in my everyday life and even in my persona as well, I'll just take a photo straight from my camera or even from my archives, and I'll just post it on Instagram as is. And I feel beauty. I see beauty in things that are natural, and of course that might even relate to the idea of like even like landscapes and stuff in nature, but even just in a regular photo where it's just straight from the camera, and just that's how I saw it in the moment. And I just want to share that with the world. And I feel like, and again, every photographer looks at the world very differently, and that's the beautiful thing about photography. We stop, we slow down, and we see things differently. Like, let's say people can't see this, but let's say actually with this whole setup over here, right?
Yeah.
Some people might see like, oh, that's a couch, oh, that's a camera, that's just a coffee table. But for me, I see minimalism. I see some sense of composition there. I see how the lines meet, how the textures contrast, and how the colors complement one another. It's like you see things differently, and I always encourage like other peers and other people I meet, both internally within my firm and externally outside of my firm, to even try photography, because You just truly look at the world differently, and it's beautiful. It's truly beautiful.
Wow. That was incredible right there, man. You had me looking at these statues, and I'm seeing the lines connecting, and wow, that was a piece right there. We clipping that. You heard it here first. We clipping that. You're gonna see a little clip on YouTube, and then you're gonna see this full interview. But no, that was beautiful. Very, very well said. I know you mentioned taking pictures with the camera the way you see it, but my question to you is, to what extent does the camera determine how the pictures are coming out, right? Is there a reason you went with this Nikon specifically with regards to your shooting style?
Well, honestly, the best camera you have is the camera that you have on you.
Yeah.
That's the truth. The best camera you have is the camera that you have on you. I've seen people take marvelous works of art with a friggin' iPhone. And I've seen, and personally, I'm well capable of taking a blurry shot with a $1,000 setup, $1,000, $2,000 setup like that. So, but the reason why I chose to go for this specific Nikon is I already had a Nikon beforehand, and I even bought the lens. Ironically, I bought the lens before I bought the camera.
Jeez.
So it made more sense to stick with a Nikon rather than, all right, I have to resell the lens, I have to resell the other cameras. It was too much of a hassle. So of course there's a huge debate, Sony versus Nikon versus Fuji versus all that. At the end of the day, come on, who doesn't want to, if you're a photographer, of course, who doesn't want a Leica? Or I don't know if you've heard of this brand, Hasselblad.
I've never heard of Hasselblad.
This camera, they used it on the moon landing, and the cameras that they sell today, a Mercedes can cost up to about $48,000, $49,000. It costs the exact same price. It's not, and that's prior tax.
Oh,
that's
boy.
pre-tax. So
are you getting 16K? What are we talking about on this camera? Like, is it what makes it at that price? You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, the Hasselblad, I don't forget the specs, but it's
it must be insane.
It
has to be,
right?
right?
Insane. So in these cameras, right, I noticed that these are filmed on A6000s, correct?
There you go.
So these are crop sensor cameras.
Yeah.
What I have is a full frame. What they use in this Hasselblad, this X1D something, feel free to fact check me, is they use a medium format. So the sensor is much bigger and it lets in a lot more light, and even the megapixel count, I forgot, but it's like, this is 12 megapixels. The iPhones today, it has the exact same megapixel count as that. This Hasselblad, through the roof.
Bruh, wow. I don't know, man. That's a tough one. I mean, unless you're really into it. You know, a C-class, I don't know, C-class the camera, I don't know, you know. But it's always interesting, you know, seeing what gear different photographers have, and it seems that this one is kind of a personal kind of brand relationship that you have with it as well. Before we do wrap up the interview, I want you to tell everybody, you can tell camera 1 or 2, not the one behind you, but unless you want to do a flip, let them know where they can find you and keep updated with both your personal and your business profile.
My company Instagram is Allen Tumbaga, ALLENTUMBAGA. My website is allentumbagaphoto.com. I can also be found on LinkedIn, and yeah.
There you go. Well, hey man, it's been a pleasure having you here on Trust the Process. You dropped a lot of gems that I won't forget. Nate and Jat, you're there behind the cameras. I'm gonna be waking up at 7 in the morning. I'm gonna go to my desk and I'm gonna write what I'm grateful for and what the goals are, because I think that is gold. Like, in all seriousness, I think that is really, really smart, and I think a lot more creators should be adopting that strategy of not only putting theory into practice, but being grateful for what you have and planning out your future steps. So thank you, man. It's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure being here.
Yo, you know what it is. My name is Kyle. This is Trust the Process Season 2. We'll catch you next week.